The HOA president stood at the end of my driveway, clipboard in hand, staring at the wheelchair ramp I built for my son. She said, "You have 24 hours to remove this eyesore." What she didn't know was that threatening my child would cost her everything. I never imagined I'd be telling this story on the internet. I'm not someone who looks for drama. I work, I come home, I take care of my family. That's it. But when someone decides they can trample over your child's dignity because they like power more than compassion, you don't stay quiet. My son, Ethan, is 9 years old. He loves dinosaurs, hates broccoli, and laughs so hard at bad jokes that milk comes out of his nose. He's smart, stubborn, and endlessly curious about how things work. 2 years ago, everything changed. A car ran a red light. I still remember the sound. Metal folding in on itself. The smell of burnt rubber. The silence afterward that felt louder than the crash itself. Ethan survived, but his spinal injury meant he would never walk again. That word, never, sat in my chest like a stone. Doctors talked, therapists explained, family cried, and Ethan just looked at me and asked one question. "Dad, can I still go outside?" That question broke me. When we brought him home from the hospital, our house suddenly felt like a maze of obstacles. Stairs everywhere, narrow doorways, thresholds we'd never noticed before now felt like walls. The front steps were the worst. 4 concrete steps between my son and the outside world. At first I carried him, every time, but Ethan hated it. "I don't want to be a baby," he said. "I want to do it myself." So I did what any parent would do. I built him a ramp, nothing fancy. Pressure-treated wood, solid railings, non-slip surface. It followed HOA guidelines even though it didn't have to. I spent nights researching angles and safety measures after Ethan fell asleep. When it was done, he rolled himself down it for the first time. The smile on his face. That ramp wasn't wood and screws. It was freedom. We lived in a neighborhood with an HOA, but honestly, we barely noticed them. Pay the dues. Mow the lawn. Don't paint your house neon pink. Easy. At least that's what I thought. The HOA president was a woman named Linda, mid-50s, always dressed like she was on her way to a business lunch. Perfect hair, perfect smile that never reached her eyes. The first time she saw the ramp, she slowed her car to a crawl. Didn't say anything, just stared. A week later, a letter appeared in our mailbox. UN-approved structural modification. I laughed at first. Surely this was a mistake. I emailed the HOA explaining the situation, included photos, medical documentation, HOA guidelines. I even offered to paint the ramp to match the house if aesthetics were the issue. No response. Then Linda showed up in person. She didn't knock. She stood on the sidewalk and called out like I was a misbehaving child. "Sir, we need to talk about this ramp." Her tone was clipped, cold. I stepped outside and explained, again, why it existed. She crossed her arms. "I understand your situation," she said, clearly not understanding anything at all. "But rules are rules." I gestured toward the ramp, toward my son watching from the doorway. "This isn't decoration," I said. "It's access." She pursed her lips. "You should have requested approval first." "I did," I replied. "I emailed, I sent documents." She waved her hand dismissively. "Well, you didn't wait for authorization. That makes it a violation." Something about the way she said violation made my stomach turn. Over the next month, the notices piled up. Fines, warnings, deadlines. Each letter felt more aggressive than the last. Ethan noticed. "Am I in trouble?" he asked one night as I tucked him in. "No," I said quickly. "Never. This isn't your fault." But kids know when something's wrong. He stopped using the ramp unless he had to, said he didn't want to cause problems. That's when anger replaced patience. I requested a meeting with the HOA board. Linda sat at the head of the table like a queen on a throne. I explained, again, slowly, calmly. Another board member, an older man, cleared his throat. "Isn't denying this an ADA issue?" he asked. Linda shot him a look that could freeze lava. "This is a private community," she snapped. "ADA doesn't apply." That was the moment I realized something important. She wasn't ignorant. She was confident she could get away with it. It was a Tuesday morning. Ethan had a doctor's appointment. I was loading his chair into the car when a pickup truck pulled into our driveway. 2 workers stepped out. Behind them, Linda. She didn't even look at me. She handed the workers a clipboard. "Remove the ramp," she said. "Today." I felt my vision blur. "What the hell do you think you're doing?" I shouted. She finally looked at me, annoyance etched across her face. "This structure is unauthorized," she said. "We gave you ample warning." Ethan was at the door, watching, confused, scared. I stepped in front of him. "You're not touching that ramp," I said. Linda sighed dramatically. "If you interfere, we'll involve law enforcement." That's when my neighbor Mark came running over. "What's going on?" he asked. "She's tearing down a wheelchair ramp," I said. Mark looked at Linda like she'd just admitted to kicking puppies. "This is insane," he said. Linda snapped, "This is none of your business." The workers shifted uncomfortably. I pulled out my phone and started recording. "Good," Linda said smugly. "Make sure you capture your violation." She didn't know she was capturing hers. One of the workers picked up a crowbar. Ethan started crying. "Stop!" he yelled. "Please stop!" Something inside me snapped. "This is harassment," I said. "This is discrimination." Linda rolled her eyes. "Drama won't save you." Then she said the words that ended her reign. "If your son needs special treatment, maybe this isn't the neighborhood for you." The air went dead silent. Mark whispered, "Did she really just say that?" I sent the video to a lawyer friend. His reply came back instantly. "Tell her to stop. She's violating federal law." I showed Linda the message. She laughed. Scare tactics. That laugh wouldn't last long. The police arrived. Not for us. For her. The officer watched the video, spoke to the workers, took statements from neighbors who had gathered. Linda's confidence crumbled. "This is a misunderstanding," she said weakly. The officer shook his head. "You can't remove accessibility modifications," he said, "especially not like this." City officials got involved. Then a disability rights attorney. Turns out private HOAs do have to comply with federal accessibility laws when they interfere with reasonable accommodations. Linda had issued fines illegally, threatened removal unlawfully, and tried to enforce it publicly. The HOA board panicked. An emergency meeting was called. Linda didn't show up. 2 weeks later, we received a letter. The fines were rescinded. The HOA issued a formal apology. Linda was removed as president. But that wasn't all. The city fined the HOA. Linda personally faced legal consequences for harassment and discrimination. She moved out 3 months later. No goodbye, no apology, just gone. Ethan uses the ramp every day now. Without fear, without shame. The neighbors painted it with him last summer. Dinosaurs along the rails, stars on the sides. He calls it my launch pad. Sometimes, standing up for your child means standing up to power. And sometimes, power learns the hard way that it chose the wrong family. If you've ever been told to stay quiet when something felt wrong, this is your reminder not to. And if you've got a story like this, I'd like to hear it. Because no one should ever be made to feel like access is a privilege. End.